Kintsugi is a Japanese pottery technique wherein you patch cracks in pottery with gold plaster. It's also the name of the latest record by Def Cab for Cutie. And so you can draw parallels between the idea of patching something with something beautiful and the latest album written by a man who is recovering from a divorce, from well, presumably when you marry someone you love them. And when it ends in divorce, you would imagine that you feel kind of lost and slightly broken. So you pick yourself up, you get your bandmates together, and you put together a new album of songs. And that's what Def Cab for Cutie have done. This week released their latest album, Kintsugi. This is on the Atlantic Records label here in Canada at the very least. And what can I say about it? Fans of Def Cab for Cutie are almost feverishly fans of Def Cab for Cutie. That was a terrible sentence. Something about them inspires very emotional connections with their fans. And they are a band that I've never heard anyone dismiss or say, I don't like them. They're a band that people either find very pleasant to listen to in the background. I mean, I've even heard Def Cab for Cutie songs played in malls. And it's always a little jarring for me because I very much enjoy Def Cab's music, and I find it to be a little tongue-in-cheek dark for playing over the PA system at a shopping mall. But that is, but it's also very pleasant to listen to. And that's the reason why it's so easy to put on and just have on in the background. But fans of Def Cab are rabid about them because I'd imagine mostly of singer and lyricist Ben Gibbard's very open style of lyricism, very emotional. He's not afraid to shy away from very sad topics. There's many songs in their catalog which evoke such jarring images and emotions that you can't stray away from them. You think, wow, I'm surprised that he would have the courage to write something like that. And then you think, but I really admire him for it. And again, no less so on this record. Of course, there's going to be a lot of talk from a lot of critics and fans and a lot of speculation about which of these songs are about Zooey Deschanel, Ben Gibbard's ex-wife. And I don't think it matters, because one of the great things about Def Cab is, even if it said in the liner notes, I wrote this song because I was sad about losing my girlfriend, or my grandparents just died and I feel really sad about it, and this is how I'm going to write a song. It wouldn't matter, because Ben is very, very good at delivering lyrics that evoke a non-specific emotion. It doesn't necessarily have to be about the ex-girlfriend. It can be for a girl about the ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend, whatever. But it doesn't have to be about a specific thing. And so Ben has been very tight-lipped about what lyrics are assigned specifically or were inspired by any specific person. And I think he's very smart to do that. The last album that they put out, which was Codes and Keys, was not the best album in their catalog. And I should say neither is this, but it certainly is a step back in the right direction for me as a fan, wanting them to sort of stay on the path that they seem to excel in. And since Transatlanticism, way back in 2005, they really have refined and perfected their songwriting skills. One of the things that I love about Def Cab is that as a drummer, I find that Jason McGurr, the drummer in Def Cab, um, doesn't drum like an indie rock musician or an indie band drummer. And please don't mean that that I like that because I find indie rock drummers to be bad. Please don't misunderstand me. But when you have, Def Cab is an emo style band. They're a bit of a shoegazer band. Um, Usually the drums are very simple, very straight ahead, and don't do anything to take away from the song, but don't really do much to add to the song. And Jason McGurr, for all the drummers out there, he really is worth listening to because he knows how to accentuate a song without overpowering it. And that is the sign, I think, of a truly good drummer. So Jason, as a fellow drummer, my hat's off to you. So this is the first album that long-running member Christopher Walla, who has also acted as producer and multi-instrumentalist in the band, is no longer in the band with, but he's still credited in the album notes. So since September of last year, he hasn't been in the band, and they've found a replacement for him to help fill in the sound on stage. And I wonder what the next record is going to be like without Christopher's input. And I guess we'll have to wait another 2 or 3 years to find that out. In the meantime, Def Cab is starting a pretty big tour. They're going to be doing a whole handful of dates across North America, and then heading over to Europe, and then coming back and doing more shows in the States. Head over to defcabforcutie.com and check out their videos here on YouTube and on their own website, and pick up Kintsugi and allow it to put some gold plaster on the cracks of your pottery. Standout tracks, of course, are Black Sun, which is the first single. I'm a big fan of the song Ingenue, which is the second last track on the album, and I think if they don't release Little Wanderer as a single, I think that might be foolish. It's an excellent, excellent track. So those are my 3 standout tracks. It's a good album. If you're a Def Cab fan, you'll definitely enjoy this. If you're looking for something that is easy to listen to, and yet, if you allow it to, can suck you in and give you a very, very intimate and joyous ride through a beautiful piece of music, I recommend, if you haven't listened to Def Cab seriously before, pick this up and put it on. At the very least, you'll have something good to play for a dinner party, and at the most, you will have an excellent piece of music that you will enjoy very, very much. My name is Daryl. I've been your critic. Like, subscribe. Tell me what you think about Def Cab for Cutie. Tell me what you think about what I said about Def Cab for Cutie. And don't forget to share, because when you share, I get to have my ego stroked even more. Go out, discover new music. I love you all. Have a good night.